So, if you haven't heard, we were live last night. Marcus Stroman is now a New York Yankee, but they are not done yet. And I'm going to tell you why. So let's get into it right now. Hey, gang, hope you're all doing well. So, Marcus Stroman is a Yankee. 2-year deal, $18.5 million per, so $37 million guarantees in total, with an option, a vesting option for a third year, requiring him to pitch 140 innings, show that he's mostly durable before that option vests. So, team-friendly deal. But there's a lot of fans that are. This is kind of split down the middle. Some fans are happy about it. Some fans are pissed off about it, and I understand both sides. And like I said too, like Marcus Stroman is known to be mouthy, right? Have an opinion. But I also mentioned another Yankee who was mouthy with an opinion, who was a great Yankee, and that's David Wells. He did the same type of stuff that Marcus Stroman did. Obviously, I don't think back then it was Twitter, so he wasn't blocking people on social media and blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, he wanted to come to the Yankees, and he took less money to get here. Why do I say that? Well, he opted out of 3 years and $71 million from Chicago. Okay, and he's taken at least $20 million less, upwards of $30 million less just to come to the Yankees. So some people are saying that's an act of desperation. Well, I understand the point, but so is giving 12 years to a guy at $27 million per that never pitched in the majors. That's an act of desperation, in my opinion, more so than giving a guy that wanted to be here. The guy that got 12 years did not want to be here. So he did, Marcus Stroman. So this is one reason why he's a Yankee. He was lights out before he had a hip injury last year. So he's got to show that he's healthy as well, which is why the vesting option rests on his durability, which is a smart thing to do. So this is a team-friendly move. It adds depth to the rotation, but they're also not done yet, okay? Not only have they shown the appetite to add another pitcher, they've shown the appetite to add a reliever too, okay? They've been cleared to do it already by Hal. But the roster right now, as it stands, a 40-man roster is at 42. They can't go into spring training over 40 man. So there's more moves that are going to be coming no matter what. They have to make moves. So, and let's look at the teams, okay? And I'm going to look at the finances too, because this is really important. I want people to get a thorough understanding of where they stand right now in terms of payroll. So I'll keep going into this in further detail. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button right now. And if you find that you like the video, hit the like button too. And just hit that notification button as well, so that you're always in front of the line when the news does come in, no matter what kind of news it is. So, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. Now, as it stands right now, Marcus Stroman has taken and with the addition of all the people that they signed yesterday to arbitration. And this is another point too. For those that say the Yankees are cheap, right? They settled with all 10 arbitration players yesterday. The Baltimore Orioles have 5 guys going to arbitration hearings. 5. The Marlins have 3. One of them, Jazz Chisholm, Tanner Scott, and Luis Arias. So they're all going to arbitration hearings. So, for those that say the Yankees are cheap, they settle with everybody. Okay, and before that, the payroll took them up to 287, right? Even with the addition of Luke Weaver yesterday to add some pitching depth. And now you have Marcus Stroman, they're up to about $305 million, $306 million. At this point, they're already over the Cohen threshold. Their luxury tax penalty, if they don't make any more moves, is $48 million. So they're going from 305 to 353, like that. Now, financially wise, if let's just say Jordan Montgomery makes $25 million a year, right? And people are saying, let's get Jordan Montgomery, let's get Blake Snell. I mean, they had an offer from Blake Snell last night, but he rejected it. It was a 5-year offer for $30 million per, and he rejected it. It was the same amount of money they offered Yamamoto for half the period of time. So, but he rejected. He wanted 7. The compromise point might be 6, but it might not be relevant at this point now. Why do I say that too? Well, Jordan Montgomery was $25 million. That would take the payroll from 305 to 330, and the luxury tax penalty from $48 million to 73. Every dollar above the Cohen threshold is taxed dollar for dollar. So his $25 million would become $50 million. Okay. And again, the luxury tax penalty would be $73 million. If Blake Snell, let's just say he makes $30 million a year, he would take it from where they're at now to $308 million. No, excuse me, $338 million. And then you add that, their luxury tax penalty would be $78 million. So that's a lot of money. So the $78 million were taxed. They'd be paying $416 million, which is absolute insanity. So financially, at this point, I do not see Snell coming. I don't see Montgomery coming, unless they clear a boatload of payroll. And we're going to get to that too. So, and what are they going to do at this point? So I think it makes most sense to trade bats for pitching. We were talking about the Marlins. We were talking about the Mariners. They both have arms with controllable years. That the Yankees have players that the Marlins are attracted to. Now, there's been some trade Gleyber Torres to the Marlins because they have been attracted to Gleyber Torres' bat. But if they couldn't settle, and Luis Arias countered, he filed at $12 million. They counterfiled at 10.6. If they weren't going to settle with Arias for $12 million for 2 controllable years, they're not going to settle with Gleyber Torres, or they're not going to pay Gleyber Torres $14 million for 1 controllable year. Okay, so they could still trade for Luis Arias, but I wouldn't even bother calling unless you plan on giving up George Lombard, Everson Pereira, Oswald Peraza, and then probably another piece too. So, but then I would be calling Seattle too and say, of these guys we're willing to trade to Miami, do you want any of them? We'll frontline a package with Gleyber Torres because he represents the more high-end bat for them that they need, a win-now type bat. And they've already traded for a couple of outfielders, but they've shown a need they need infield help. Well, he represents that. They also need bullpen help. We have that too. So we can do a package deal with Seattle to get one of their pitchers, maybe Bryce Miller or Brian Wu. They have 5 controllable years each. And from the Marlins side, you got Edward Cabrera has 5 controllable years. So if they're going to trade, and this is my opinion, we'll see if I'm right or wrong. You can agree with me or disagree with me. It doesn't matter. Either one's fine. But if they make another pitching addition, I think it's going to be a controllable years type pitcher in a trade, and which would leave them room to sign Jordan Hicks as well. And at still point, they could also trade a couple of relievers, whether it be Ron Marinaccio, Johnny Loizaga, Tommy Kahnle, to almost offset the money that Jordan Hicks would cost. He'd probably cost $10 million a year, probably require 4 years. So they could offset Hicks's money by trading a couple of players. So they could, and the only way I would trade Gleyber Torres, to be honest with you, is if we were going to replace him with a bat like Luis Arias. Because, and I was talking with Joey from the shift last night, and he makes a great point too. Oswald Peraza, I've talked about him potentially being a good replacement for Gleyber Torres, but if they're in win now mode, they're probably not going to go with Oswald Peraza. They probably have to go with a guy like Luis Arias or somebody like that. Or if they sign somebody on the cheap, with Merrifield, Adam Frazier, somebody like that can credibly give some offense. So there could be a number of moves that they make. And at this point now, a trade with the Marlins and a trade with the Mariners, or one or the other, makes sense because it would still clear up enough, not only resources, but space for them on the 40-man to also add Jordan Hicks, because they'd be sending multiple players to either team for one player. So they would not only clear that 42 down to 40 or potentially even lower, they would also include the ability for them to add whoever they're going to be bringing in. So financially, it makes sense, okay? And they would get another innings pitcher here too. But Marcus Stroman, again, is bringing attitude, he's bringing swag, he's bringing personality to the team, as is Alex Verdugo. Some people are trashing the moves. I get it. But, just think about it. Stroman wanted to be here. He took less money. Yamamoto did not want to be here. And he cost a massive overpay, a desperate overpay by a team like the Dodgers. So if we overpaid that much for him and he turned out to be a bust, think about how angry the Yankee fans would be for the next 12 years. Okay? People are pissed off now at the Stanton contract. Think about how angry they would be at the Yamamoto contract. So I want to just add that for perspective. I don't see them at this point trading for Corbin Burns. I don't see him at this point trading for Dylan Cease. The asking prices are still too high. If the Corbin Burns ask comes down a little bit, he's got 1 year of control. He could be a deadline guy unless they make a trade for him now. But they're probably going to have to offer Chase Hampton. I'm not moving Jason. I'm not moving Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones for Dylan Cease. So the White Sox can go ask the Baltimore Orioles for a bigger package. But this is the guy, Luis Arias, the National League batting champ, okay, who's now heading into an arbitration hearing. And the Marlins are now willing to listen to offers on Arias. So I would keep an eye out for him. Not saying he's coming, but it would now make it easier to trade Gleyber Torres if they can somehow find a way to bring Arias in here. So, and again, if they're going to roll with Peraza, then they're going to have to give him a fair shake the entire season to, just like they did Anthony Volpe. So, and let the numbers be the numbers. Do I think he can credibly produce? Yes, he killed it in AAA, okay? Every time he went down. So, I think he can. He's got a better glove. And DJ, we know, is playing third. So, those present themselves as probably the two most logical scenarios at this point, because they would both leave resources to sign a guy like Jordan Hicks or Robert Stevens. They're both familiar with the American League. They're both big arms, okay? And they're both available. So, either one I'd be fine with. But the fact is, too, if they're not going to, blow past payroll to get Amonte or blow past payroll to get Snell, they're not going to do it for what's his name, Josh Hader either. They're not going to. So every dollar at this point is double. If they spend $20 million for Hader, it becomes $40 million. Like I said, they spent $30 for Snell, it becomes $60. They spend $25 for Montgomery, it becomes $50. That's the way you got to look at it, at least for this year. They have money coming off the books next year, so the penalty will be lowered. But is it enough to get them under the Cohen threshold? We have no idea. No idea. So stay tuned, gang, because they are not done yet, and I'll keep you updated on everything they do. Peace.